I remember the day that my grandmother died. It was the end of last year. We received the call from the hospital. She has been in a coma for the last 4 months, 5 months, I don't know. And we went to see her. I tried talking with her. I tried to see if we can get a response because I thought she was just in the coma. And obviously, nothing happened. It was only when I came back that I actually realized when I spoke with my mom, that she had died. I just thought it was like she was in a critical thing. That's why we went. I was like, oh, okay. Personally, I do not feel much because I do not have that much of a personal connection with my grandmother. But the one regret that I would have had is that I wanted to record a podcast with my relatives, especially the older ones, so that when they pass away, I have like a very, very like amazing, memorable thing with them. My only regret was that I did not do that. And the reason that I'm telling this to you is because the people closest to you are going to die. You are going to die. Let that sink in with all the little things you're obsessed with. You are going to die. And the time where this really hit me was when I did what's called a death meditation, which is like an audio you listen to, where you sink into the perspective that like you died right now, and then you start reflecting on your life. You start reflecting on the things that you did, the things that you didn't do, the things that you should have done, and you see what comes up. And I came out of the meditation like sweating, jittering, with tears in my eyes. And I realized I did not want to live a life with regrets. At least to the best of my ability, I wanted to try to live a life that's true to who I am. And that's going to require a lot of courage from me. And I'm going to tell you about that in the best way of communication ever known to man. I'm going to tell you three stories. First one, this was quite some time ago where I wanted to talk with this like old friend. And we haven't talked in months because like a lot of problems, a lot of issues. And I was dreading to have this conversation, right? Because one, I had to apologize. Two, I was angry about a lot of things. And it required a lot of confrontation that I needed to do. And I was procrastinating this. I was scared, but I knew I needed to do that. I knew I needed to go and talk. So me being me, I was like, I need to open the door. I need to go to the class, and I just need to talk with that person. But I roam around the corridor a bit. I start looking at the timetable. I start looking at everything that's like posted on that. Procrastinating. It's dumb when I say it now. And I was like walking again, and okay, one more time walk. Okay, I'm gonna say it now, and then another walk. And this one time I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit, and then I go to open the door, and I see that person, and that's where like I start shaking, I start sweating, I start jittering, my like stomach sinks. I'm scared, and I back off. I sit with my friend, and he's like, I asked him for help. I was like, dude, pressure me into doing this. I know I need to do this, and he's like, I can't come with you. But you need to do it for yourself, because if you don't do it, there's going to be like at least like 1% of you, there's going to be something that's going to keep bothering you. So you need to do it for yourself. I was like, okay, boss. And with that like level of conviction, I went that, I opened the door and I talked with that person. And what happened, just wait a minute, I'll tell you. The second incident, I've had I've had the dreams of being an entrepreneur for a long time. And this was the time where like I knew I wanted to take a step. Being like, I was like, okay, I've gone through a certain transformation in my own life. I want to make a paid program and sell it to people so that students like me can join the program to try to do with more with their lives. And I knew the action I needed to take was like call up my friends, call up the like talk to their parents, and then pitch the idea and try to sell a few of this to like validate the idea to see if has some merit. And I was so scared. What if things go wrong? What if they judge me? What if they think I'm weird? What if they think I'm money minded? what if it becomes an issue? What if uh, I get what if they call my parents and be like, look at what your son's doing? I I was so scared, but still I took the step because I knew I didn't want to live a life with regret. So I took that step. And what happened? Just wait a minute, I'll let you know. The third incident, and it was probably one of the most important days of my life. I went to my family and I told them that I love them. I wanted to do this for like a year, being in self improvement, trying to improve my life. I wanted to do that for a long time. Because maybe some of you won't get this, but being in an Indian family, it's like you aren't that vulnerable with your family. So I took that step. And that day when I was like reading it out, I was reading out like a gratitude thing, and I told my mom that I love her. Again, I was shaking, I was jittering, my stomach. There was a deep sense of sink. But then, what happened, I'll tell you in a minute. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because these steps of courage, they are the things that determine the way you feel about your life when you die. And I need to repeat this to you because of how important this is. If you don't push to live a life that's true to yourself, you're living a life half dead. And what happened in this, the first incident, I went to the person and I was like, can we talk about something? And we had the conversation, and from that point, I haven't talked to that person ever since. But still, I'm so grateful I took that step because now I have that closure. The second incident, I started calling the friends that I had, I started talking with their parents, I started pitching the idea. And on the good side, I managed to sell 4 people and I made like 2000 rupees. And on the bad side, one of them probably got like irritated that I was doing this. And they complained to my school. And my school wanted to talk with my parents. And that was like, oh my god, the worst case scenario. But still, I went through it. And I was still alive. So, even if it goes good or even if it goes bad, that doesn't matter. The third incident where I told my family that I loved them, they were happy, obviously. And that just made me realize that these fears, they deserve a lot less merit than we give them. And we all can do with a bit more of that courage. And if you can take one thing away from my talk, it's this. The transformation that you want, the perspective shift that I want you to have is like going through life from this like, it's like a video game. Life is like a video game. Going through life from this like perspective of the character, the things that happen the XP points that you gain, the things where you get hurt, the things where you almost got killed, you get shit scared and then you stop moving. You stop taking the steps. I want you to get back to the perspective of the player where you look at the game and you're like, you take the controller again. Because some things go well, some things go bad. Some things like you're excited, some things you're like, I want to die right now. But still you're able to go through it. Because when that game ends, the question that's going to matter isn't if you won or you lost, if it went well or it didn't. The only question that's going to matter is, did you even play? My name is Yukash Ravan, and thank you.